Forever. Dog.
Oh, yes. We are back. We are back. We are back, baby. At least I'm back. The Georgia Movie Dog here with you for another episode of Movies, Baby. The Philly movie freak, my co-host, Joe Cilio, the CEO himself, is on, drumroll please, paternity leave. That's right. This past Thursday, if you can believe it, this past Thursday, Joe and his family welcomed their second baby into the world, a beautiful baby girl. I've seen the pictures. I'm a little biased, this being my co-host, my friend, my business partner. This is one of the cutest babies I have ever seen in my life. I let out a cry when I saw when I saw the photo. I said, "Hey, Amy, my wife," I said, "You got to look at this baby. Look at this baby. This baby's adorable. Oh my God." My wife, Amy, agreed. This is one of the most adorable babies you've ever seen. Congrats to Joe. Congrats to the family. Joe will be on paternity leave at least for another week, but we had to bring the show back. We had to bring the show back because, look, there is only one good reason not to see One Battle After Another opening weekend, and Joe has that reason. Having a child is a good reason. It's probably the only reason. Funeral, they're not there. They're gone. You could skip that. But a baby, that's a good reason because that baby needs a lot of love and attention. But my kid's 4 years old. I ain't got a new baby. I had my butt in that seat day one for One Battle After Another, and I can't wait to tell you about it. I can't wait to talk about this movie. I've been waiting all frickin' year. I don't want to wait anymore. So let's get going. Roll that theme song, please.
The backbone of this country is the independent film critic. The power of movies must be protected. The best thing about movies is the feeling they give. It's a feeling I want to feel every day. Movies, baby! Movies, baby! Movies, baby! Movies, baby!
I love it, Brett Ball.
Welcome to Movies, Baby. I'm Brett Boehm, a.k.a. the Georgia Movie Dog. Go Dogs. And I'm coming to you live from the San Fernando Valley, the home of Paul Thomas Anderson, whose new movie, One Battle After Another, I saw this weekend. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about box office. We're going to get caught up on all the September movies that we haven't had a chance to talk about during our 3-week hiatus. It's been too long. And then in the second half of the show, this is for Patreon subscribers only, I am going to be ranking, off the top of my head, mind you. I made a conscious decision not to prepare for this. I want to allow the spontaneity of the moment to take over. I'm going to be ranking every single Paul Thomas Anderson movie from my least favorite, which I'm sure, like a lot, to my most favorite. I'm going to be ranking the PTAs, but that's only for Patreon subscribers in the second half of the show. But for now, the first thing we do, you know how we do it. Show me the money. And by money, I mean the weekend box office returns, baby. There they are. There they are. Okay. So, we finally have an answer to what has been the biggest box office question all year, the biggest looming box office question all year. How much is One Battle After Another gonna make opening weekend? Because usually there's not this sort of box office fanfare around PTA's movies. There's a lot of among movie lovers. There's a lot of excitement around the release of a new PTA movie, but there's usually not big box office expectations because he's making these movies on kind of smaller, indie kind of budgets. But in this case, for the first time in his career, Warner Brothers gave him all the frickin' money. They gave him more money than they give some of these comic book movies. And I love that. They gave him $175 million, supposedly, to make One Battle After Another, even though his highest grossing movie ever, There Will Be Blood, made $78 million total. But Warner Brothers said, what the hell? Let's spin the dice on a real auteur, on one of the, if not the greatest American director of this generation. Let's give him $175 million. Let's see what this guy gets up to. And so all year people have been saying, did Warner Brothers mess up? That's a crazy amount of money to give to a guy like Paul Thomas Anderson. And then Sinners hits big. Another auteur movie that they invested in. Then they have all these other hits, a Minecraft movie, the Final Destination Bloodlines. They've had all these big hits this year. And so people started saying, maybe One Battle After Another is going to hit big. Maybe it's going to have a big opening weekend. Could it do 40 million domestic? Could it do 50 million domestic? Why not? It's getting marketed all over the place. The reviews are ecstatic. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. Maybe it's in frickin' Fortnite. Maybe this thing does $50 million opening weekend domestic. Could you believe it? Could such a thing be possible? And I would like to think, I wanted to think that such a thing could be possible. Even in the year 2025, even in this broken world of ours, I wanted to believe that such a thing could be possible. Unfortunately, it's not even remotely possible. One Battle After Another did $22.4 million domestic opening weekend. It did do 26.1 internationally for a worldwide opening of 48.5, which is PTA's biggest opening ever by far. But I do not want to put a silver lining on this. I do not want to just try to find the optimistic angle on this. I want to sit with this. I want to sit with the reality of this number, 22.4 million opening weekend, despite everything I just said. Despite that it's an action movie with car chases and explosions, despite the fact that it's got Leo going crazy, despite the fact that they were marketing it all over the place. They got Leo out here doing freaking TikToks for this movie. They got PTA doing TikToks for this movie. $22.4 million. That is a disgrace. That is not on Paul Thomas Anderson. That is not on Warner Brothers. That's not on Leonardo DiCaprio. It's definitely not on Chase Infinity. That is on us. That is on the American movie-going public. And in particular, I would like to, and some might say this is a tangent, some might say that this is catching a stray, but I want to focus on a specific sector of the American movie-going public. Because here are some of the other domestic openings this year. Some of the biggest. These are some of the biggest domestic openings this year. Minus kids' movies. I'm not putting kids' movies in this. Superman made $125 million domestic opening weekend. Fantastic Four, $117 million. Jurassic World Rebirth, $92. Captain America Brave New World, $88. And this is in the waning, supposed decline of the comic book movie era. Now, what's my point? Do I expect a PTA movie to do these numbers, to do comic book movie numbers, even under these circumstances, even when he has $175 million to work with? No, I don't. I don't expect it to do those kind of numbers. But I do expect it to be a little fucking closer to those numbers. I expect it to be maybe in the fucking beginning of the ballpark of those numbers. I expected it to be closer. I expected it to do better. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it didn't. Not least of all, because of how fucking good the movie is. Here's my message. Here is my message to all the fans out there who went to weekend one of Superman and the Marvel movies and Jurassic World this year. Here's my message to you, and it's quite simple. In fact, it's 2 words. Fuck you. Fuck you. This is why, right here. You know why you're always like, why is Martin Scorsese talking bad about Marvel movies? Like, why is everyone so mad at us all the time? It honestly has nothing to do with the movies. It really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the movies. It has to do with you. It has to do with you. Because you suck. You fucking suck. I'm sorry, you do. And I'm not talking to people who like Marvel movies. I'm talking to the people who came dressed up for Fantastic Four Final Steps. I saw you up there at City Walk and then didn't show up for One Battle After Another. $22.4 million. I'm talking to you, and you know who you are. This is why people say that Marvel ruined the movies. Not because of the movies themselves, but because of this unfair, unreciprocal culture that you have created about the movies. You're selfish. That's why you suck. You only care about your movies. I go to your movies. I saw Superman opening weekend. I saw First Steps opening weekend. I sat through that whole fucking movie. It was boring, but I sat through the whole movie. Jurassic World, you better believe I was there opening weekend. I go to all the comic book movies opening weekend. Why can't you go to our fucking movies opening weekend? Because the reason I go to all your movies is because I love movies. I am here for the medium. I want the medium to thrive and succeed and persist. We need it. It is the essential medium of our time. I'm here for the movies with a capital fucking M. You are here for your movies with a lowercase m. And you can take that shit and go home, okay? We don't want you. We don't need you, okay? The movies will survive on their own. Thank you very much. But it'd be nice if you fucking chipped in, okay? It'd be nice if you came out for one battle after another the way you came out for fucking Captain America Brave New World. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Makes almost four times what this movie made, what One Battle After Another made. Give me a break. Give me a break. This medium that has supposedly given you so much joy over the last 15 years. You don't shut up about these Marvel movies. This medium that has brought so much meaning to your life. You give nothing back to the medium. You give nothing back to it if it isn't exclusively for you. If it doesn't have a post-credit sequence in it, you can't be bothered to get off the fucking couch. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? How selfish are you? It's the selfishness. It's the solipsism that pisses me off. It's the lack of a team mentality that pisses me off. That's what pisses me off. Captain America would be ashamed of you, I'll tell you that. He'd be ashamed of you. He'd be ashamed of your lack of vision. Dr. Ian Malcolm would be ashamed of you. Superman would be ashamed of you. They'd say, "Why didn't you didn't go to you went to our movies, you didn't go to One Battle After Another? What, do you hate the movies?" I do have something for you though. I have a little parting gift because I don't want to leave, I believe in reciprocity. I believe in teamwork. So I do have a little parting gift for you, all of you comic book movie fans out there who didn't show up for One Battle After Another. A little parting gift for you. And here it is. I have it right down here. Let me just grab it real quick. And there it is right there. There it is right there. And you know what? Let me give you another one. It's kind of, I have to hold the mic. And for those listening, I'm holding up both of my middle fingers right now in double birds, and I'm also holding the microphone. Because I can do more than one. I can do multiple things at the same time. I can go to a Marvel movie and I can go to a PTA movie. There it is. 2 for the price of 1. Share it with a friend. I hope Comic-Con falls into a sinkhole. Fuck you. Now, September wasn't all bad at the box office, though. In fact, there were a couple surprise hits while we've been off the air, while we've been on hiatus. And because we haven't been here to talk about them, I wanted to shout out one of them. I'm not going to go over every box office weekend that we missed, but I do want to shout out one movie. Big surprise hit, did very well at the box office, and that is Conjuring Last Rites. Holy shit, did this movie rake. And I don't want to rub it in, I don't want to take a victory lap, but I called it. Rewind the tape. Joe was skeptical. I said Conjuring Last Rites is going to be the biggest Conjuring universe movie ever. It's going to eclipse, I think it was The Nun 2 or the first Nun. One of the Nuns had the biggest opening ever. And I said Conjuring, and I think it was in the 40s. It was like 45 million. I said, Conjuring Last Rites, the trailer is good. They're playing up, this is the last one. Get it while you can. It ain't going to be around much longer. I mean, they're definitely going to make fucking more. But they really played up, this is the last chance to get your Conjuring fix in movie theaters. And I could just feel it in the wind. I could feel it in the air. I said, this movie's going to crush. And sure enough, holy shit. I didn't know. I will say, I had no idea it was going to do this much. 84 million opening weekend, domestic. total opening weekend, 187 million. The Conjuring Last Rites did 187 million worldwide. Good God, congratulations. It's currently up to $435.8 million. That's the 11th biggest movie of the year. And it's another Warner Brothers movie. Congrats to Warner Brothers having a historic year. This will, when David Ellison buys Warner Brothers and turns it into an AI slop factory, another fuck you. If I had a third middle finger, it'd be for David Ellison. This will be looked on as the last great major studio year in movie history. Now, I hope that's not true. And I don't think it is, because the movies have been here before and they've persisted and they've survived and the pendulum always swings. But let's say Ellison takes over Warner Brothers. He just bought Paramount. Rumor is he's going to take over Warner Brothers too. And he does David Ellison things with it. Silicon Valley brain things with it. This could be looked back on as the last great year by a major studio. And I don't mean exclusively financially. I mean the combination of financial success, commercial success, and artistic success. Because, yeah, they made $980 million with a Minecraft movie. They also gave Ryan Coogler a big old budget to make Sinners, and they gave PTA a big old budget to make One Battle After Another. In my opinion, the two best American movies of the year so far. We'll get to the One Battle After Another review, but probably not a spoiler that I liked it. So could this be the last great year by a major studio? We'll see. Time will tell. But it's definitely a great year by a major studio. Congrats to Warner Brothers. I mean, fuck Zaz. This isn't a congrats to Zaz. But Michael DeLuca, Pamela Abdy, the ones who are really running things on the movie side. Congrats to all the people over there who have made these great movies successful this year. And speaking of September movies, we've been out the last 3 weeks, but the movies have not stopped coming out. So I wanted to run through. I haven't seen them all. I took a little mini break, but I've been seeing a couple in theaters. And so I wanted to give you some quick 60-second reviews of movies that came out during our hiatus that we have not talked about yet. These are movies that came out during the hiatus that we have not talked about yet. Starting with Caught Stealing, Darren Aronofsky's Caught Stealing. This, to me, is the dictionary definition of a 2.5-star movie, which in our criteria, in our rubric, means it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It is weirdly unambitious for a Darren Aronofsky movie, though, and I think that was the thing that disappointed me. Even when he's not quite hitting the mark, Aronofsky at least always can be counted on to try things, to experiment, to kind of push the medium. But here it's almost the opposite. He's playing it way too safe in Caught Stealing. And in that case, if he's going to play it safe, I would have liked this movie to be a little poppier, a little fizzier, maybe even lean into that a little bit more. Make your Guy Ritchie movie. That's kind of what I thought I was getting into here. This sort of like criminal underground caper with some comedy, very fast paced. That's what the trailer was selling me. But unfortunately, this movie was too dour to be fun. It was a little sort of like a little more of a bummer than I was hoping for. But it was also too insubstantial to capitalize on that dourness, to make meaning out of it. This movie doesn't really add up to a whole lot, and I think could have been better served if this is the way Aronofsky wanted to go. I think it could have been better served just make a sort of poppy, fizzy Guy Ritchie movie. But unfortunately, this one gets sort of caught in the middle of a lot of things. It does have a couple fun performances. I liked Matt Smith as the punk. I liked Griffin Dunn as the bar owner who tells Lou Reed stories because he's been a downtown guy forever, and he has a shotgun in his vault. I liked a couple characters, but otherwise, there just wasn't a whole lot going on here, to be honest. I gave this movie 2.5 stars. It's all right. It's all right. Next up, The Conjuring Last Rites, the movie we just talked about that made so much money, The Conjuring Last Rites. I had a blast at The Conjuring Last Rites. It's a lush classical horror movie. It had some really great scares, including this incredible sequence that takes place in a dressing room in a wedding gown store, and it plays with the mirrors and reflections and kind of the infinity of reflections in a really fun way. I think Vera Farmiga is one of our most underrated actors, particularly in the horror medium. She just has such a good face and a profile for horror. When she like turns suddenly to the side and you know she's sensing the presence of a demon. demon. It's just so perfect. It's such just classical horror tropes. I know that some people had a problem with the length of this movie. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. I didn't really notice or have an issue with it. I was pretty engrossed in this movie from start to finish. I liked a lot of the world building that went on. A lot of the non-horror elements didn't bother me. And yes, Ed and Lorraine Warren, who this movie is based on and this whole series is based on, are just hucksters in real life that don't deserve this kind of hagiography from Hollywood. And yes, the movie endorses Catholic orthodoxy in a weirdly literal way. But that's not what I'm endorsing. I'm not here endorsing the Warrens or Catholicism. I'm simply endorsing the movie The Conjuring Last Rites, which I gave 3 stars to. I thought it was good. I had a good time. Relay. Do y'all know about Relay? Relay is, I think this is the VOD movie of the year, tied with Locked, my other favorite VOD movie of the year. And I'm talking about movies that, like, you can wait till they come out on streaming. There's so many movies these days. You got to go to the theater as much as you can, but there's a lot of movies, and some of them are even better at home on a weeknight. And in addition to Locked, the movie where Anthony Hopkins locks Bill Skarsgård in his car, add Relay to that list. Relay, if you haven't heard of this movie, it's got Riz Ahmed, Lily James, and Sam Worthington in it. It's the best way I can describe it is it's like a cheap little Michael Clayton knockoff. It's got corporate espionage and this and that. And look, it's not anywhere close to Michael Clayton, but doesn't like when I say cheap little Michael Clayton knockoff, doesn't that sound like a fucking fun movie to watch on a Tuesday at home when you don't know what else to watch? And that's what Relay is. It's the most fun you can have on a Tuesday night on your couch. It also has this like fun little You've Got Mail shop around the corner plot line where Riz Ahmed and Lily James are falling for each other through this messaging service, not having ever seen each other or met each other. So look, it has some fun stuff going on. It's not a great movie, but it is one of my VOD movies of the year. I give it 2.5 stars. Technically, that's all right, but I want you to say it like this. All right for Relay. Last but not least, The Long Walk. The Long Walk. The Long Walk is based on a early Stephen King novel that came out in 1979. It's one of those novels he wrote under his pen name, Richard Bachman. And I have to say, I don't currently have the highest expectations for any Stephen King universe project. I think it's at a pretty low ebb right now between Life of Chuck, one of the worst movies of the year, and all of Stephen King's terrible boomer tweets that he insists on doing and then having to apologize for. All of that considered, I was shocked at how good The Long Walk was. I was shocked at how powerful it was. Oh my God. The Long Walk is great. Have y'all seen this yet? The performances are excellent, especially Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson in the leads, but a really great ensemble cast across the board. Charlie Plummer is really good as well. Everyone's good. The script is great. They really do a great job of taking this simple, repetitive premise, this like dystopian. So it's sort of like Stand By Me meets The Running Man, if we want to stick in Stephen King universe. It's like young men bonding, but in the context of this dystopian murder game. And they really do a good job of making that simple, repetitive premise. They are just walking the entire movie down a street. They do an incredible job through the script, through the dialogue and the performances of making that premise not only interesting, but increasingly interesting. This movie is so good at escalation because in the beginning the first 5 minutes you're a little bit on the fence because the dialogue is a little like Stephen King corny. It's a little overcooked, but ride the wave, baby, because soon enough that is just the world. They commit to that form of dialogue so hard that it just soon becomes the world, and you're in the world, and then the world is escalating and you're getting drawn in, and by the end, man, this honestly I think is one of the best movies I've seen this year. I think if you look at my rankings of all the movies I've seen this year on Letterboxd, I think I have it at like 11 right now. This was a really, really good movie. I gave it 4 stars, which means it's great. And it is. Now, some movies that I did not see this month, but I have to catch up on. Maybe you've seen them already. You can let me know on Patreon what you think. Toxic Avenger. I can't believe I didn't see this in theaters. I'm so sorry. I just missed the boat on that. I'm very, very sorry. When it comes out on VOD, I'll rent it twice to make up for that. I cannot wait to see this Toxic Avenger remake directed by Macon Blair, who I really like, starring Peter Dinklage. Elijah Wood is like doing some wacko thing. I can't wait to see a Toxic Avenger. The Roses I didn't see. I'm really curious about what The Roses is. This is Jay Roach's War of the Roses remake. With a pretty stacked cast: Olivia Colman, Benedict Cumberbatch. I'll get around to seeing The Roses. If you've seen it, let me know what you think. Spinal Tap 2. Oof. Yeah, I was not in a rush to see that. My worry is that this is going to be like watching your dad get beat up for 2 hours. Like it's going to have that sort of impact where it's just sort of like, oh, guys. I mean, I'm glad you got a paycheck, but this one is not fun to watch. Or maybe it's great. I don't know. Downton Abbey 3, LOL, what? A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. I think I'm going to skip this one. I mean, I sort of have to see it as I've made this a part of my job, but I don't know. I mean, I already saw Life of Chuck this year. I feel like I've punched that card once, and once was too much this year. I do love Colin Farrell. I like Margot Robbie. And I liked After Yang, this director Kogonada's last movie. But I don't know. The trailer looks terrible. I just don't like that genre of like, isn't life just sort of magical when you think about it? That's not my genre. Definitely not right now or ever. Whatever. I'll see it on streaming. Maybe it's good. Now, the timing, I do have to say, the timing of this, The Roses, Spinal Tap 2, Downton Abbey 3, and A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey coming out in September 2025 is so funny. And just so wildly out of touch with the cultural moment. This is going to be what someone's going to look back and say, if you want a sense of like how sort of out to lunch Hollywood was while all this shit was going on, look at what they came out with in September 2025. The Roses, Spinal Tap 2, Downton Abbey 3, and A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. It's like the late 60s when they were still making sort of like big 1950s-esque musicals while Kent State was happening. But that being said, there is a big asterisk. There is a big asterisk on that statement I just made, because there is another movie that came out in September 2025 that is not wildly out of touch, that is in fact so wildly in touch with the cultural moment, it's crazy. It's crazy, and I'm of course talking about the main event of this episode, the main event of the movie year, as far as I'm concerned, Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. Let's get into it, baby. Now, first things first, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but it does need to be said, okay? It does need to be said that before there was a trailer, before there was even a poster, back in the beginning of the year, based solely on the fact that Warner Brothers had given Paul Thomas Anderson $185 million to make his Vineland adaptation, finally, that he's been working on forever, the novel Vineland by Thomas Pynchon. Based on the fact that they gave him $185 million, and based on the fact that the early word coming out of Warner Brothers was that they were freaking out because the movie was too weird for them. Based solely on those two facts, I said on this show, you can go back and hear it, you can go back and find it, I said on this show that we were on masterpiece alert when it came to One Battle After Another. I said, sound the alarms, sound the masterpiece alert alarms. I think something's cooking here. I think something very interesting is cooking here. And sure, that's not a risky bet for a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Half of his movies are full-on 5-star masterpieces, if not more. Stay tuned to the second half of the show, Patreon only, when I'm going to rank them all. But they're not always 5-star masterpieces. This one is. This one fucking is. With One Battle After Another, Paul Thomas Anderson has earned my first 5-star rating of the year for an American movie. And that is the rating that is reserved only for certified masterpieces. Only for certified masterpieces do we give a 5-star rating. And I am giving One Battle After Another a 5-star rating because it is immediately instantly, no recency bias, just stone cold truth. This movie is immediately and instantly a new American classic, and it is one of Paul Thomas Anderson's best movies, and that's saying a lot because that dude's got one of the all-time great filmographies, and he ain't done yet. And speaking of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies, I want to start this review with a few thoughts about his filmography as a whole, because there are a lot of ways to view his filmography, a lot of ways to rank his filmography. There are a lot of different types of PTA fans. You have, I saw an IndieWire ranking of all his movies that came out last week, and they had Magnolia at 2. Magnolia at 2. And I know there's a lot of Magnolia fans out there, a lot of Magnolia stans. And then you have your There Will Be Blood fans, your There Will Be Blood camp. They say that is by far his best movie. Then you have your Phantom Thread upstarts, the people who say, you know what, Phantom Thread is in the running for best PTA. Phantom Thread is the one. That's the true the masterpiece beyond masterpiece. And then you have maybe my favorite. You have your Boogie Nights diehards. You have your old school PTA fans. The ones, I think this is Tarantino. I think Tarantino still says Boogie Nights is his favorite. And all of this is just a testament to how vivid and defined the different chapters of PTA's career are. It's one of the most fascinating things about him as a director is how unsatisfied he is with his own genius. He is constantly looking to reinvent himself, to try out different things, to use a movie as a sort of experiment for future movies. His filmography is so interesting in the way his movies sort of connect together and the way one leads to another, or the way one is sort of the basis for not the next one, but the one after that. It's such an interesting filmography to go through and to think about this director approaching each project, how he's approaching each project. He's such a restless mind, but he's also not he's also not restless to the point where, if you compare it to, let's say, one of his favorite directors, Robert Altman. If you look at Altman, Altman is equally as sort of restless and inventive and constantly sort of zigging and zagging, but Altman will go through a stretch of 3 stinkers. PTA doesn't have a single stinker in his filmography as far as I'm concerned. Definitely nothing below 3 stars. Probably nothing below 3.5 stars. And so it's so interesting that as he's experimenting, he's still never missing. He's still never missing the mark. My favorite story about PTA happened in between Boogie Nights and Magnolia, because after Boogie Nights, he's the hottest shit in town. He's the hottest American director since Tarantino. Every door is open to him all of a sudden. But that is no guarantee of anything. That is not a guarantee of anything, because the first second you have a bomb, all those doors are going to slam shut. So PTA is in this moment that many people have been in before him. He's the it director. He's the hot director. So he's trying to figure out, what's my next movie going to be? He's taking meetings. He's talking to people, and he finds out that Warren Beatty wants to meet with him. And so PTA says, of course I'll meet with Warren Beatty. Of course I'll meet with one of the greats. But I have one condition. And look, if he doesn't want to do it this way, I'll still meet with him. But let's just tell him this. Tell him I have one condition. I want to have dinner in the most public place possible. I don't want to meet in a closed room somewhere. I want to have dinner at fucking Spago if I'm going to meet Warren Beatty. And the reason is because PTA was in it to win it, baby. He was in it to fucking win it from the beginning. This guy didn't want to just be one and done. This guy didn't want to have a fucking, slump after Boogie Nights. This guy says, I want to get into the club, baby. I want to get into the big time, all right? I want to get into the room where it fucking happens. And so if I'm going to meet with Warren Beatty, I'm going to do it in public at Spago or wherever they went. I don't know, Dantana's. So that people can see us together and people are going to know I'm hot shit. And sure enough, guess who was at that restaurant when he had dinner with Warren Beatty? Francis Ford Coppola. Heard of him? And Francis Ford Coppola, sure enough, comes over to their table while they're having dinner. And he's saying, oh, I love Boogie Nights. It was so good. I love this and that. And then he leans over and he tells PTA, gives him one piece of advice. As someone who had blazed the same path of being a visionary director in the Hollywood system and outside of it. He said, you're never going to have this moment ever again. Even if you reel off 3 hits, you're never going to have this moment ever again. Because right now, it's just all potential. Even if you have 3 hits, your next 3 movies, there's a number on you. Now there's expectations on you. Now there's a context for you. Now Hollywood knows how to fit you in and knows what box to fit you in. But right now, all they know is you're the hottest fucker in town, and they don't know what's coming next. But they will give you anything you want to make it happen. And so Coppola said, you'll never have this moment again. So whatever you want to do, whatever the big dream is, whatever the big project is, whatever the big vision is, do it now. And he takes that advice and he goes and makes Magnolia. And what I love about that is Magnolia is not just one dream project. It's not just like, oh, I really wanted to make a movie about Mickey Mantle. It's not one thing. It is all of PTA's brain on film. It is everything he could think of, everything he remembered from the San Fernando Valley, everything together, his relationship with his dad, everything in one movie. And I love how literally he took Coppola's advice. He didn't be like, oh yeah, that movie that's been bouncing around about the Jonestown Massacre, I guess maybe I'll do that one now. No, he said, you know what? Because I'm not in this for just the next movie. I'm in this for my career. I'm in this for the next 10 movies. So for Magnolia, for my next one after Boogie Nights, since I can do whatever I want. And sure enough, New Line famously gave him final cut on Magnolia, which is why it's so fucking long. He said, I'm going to try everything. I'm going to put everything out there in this movie. And then, and I don't know if this was intentional or literal, but for me, you see in Magnolia, which I will say, spoiler alert, not one of my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movies. You see in Magnolia the birth of Paul Thomas Anderson, the director, even more so than Boogie Nights. Even more so than Boogie Nights. You see the beginning of a sort of singular, separated, unique Paul Thomas Anderson at work. And you see the beginnings of the career. And that's, again, no shade to Boogie Nights. But Magnolia to me is this big sketchbook where he invents himself and invents his aesthetic and invents and tries out every fucking character he can think of. Where he's like, just pushing every character towards emotional climaxes all the time. He's almost like trying to make the medium of movies break. He's like pushing it to its breaking point with how much is going on in Magnolia. But I don't think that's the only time he does that. Contrary to Francis Ford Coppola's advice, I see him doing that throughout his career. His career is this very interesting pendulum swing between what I would call like sketchbook movies, where he's trying out a lot of stuff. He's not putting limits on it. He's not putting walls on it. He's not trying to hone in. He's trying to spread out. He's trying to see what he can do. He's trying to see what's possible in this medium. And then I think you have these much more honed in, focused, clear, perfectly executed masterpieces. And watching him oscillate between those two movies, that I think is why he has had such a successful career. That is why he keeps finding new things to do. Because unlike his namesake counterpart, Wes Anderson, who I think, and look, I've made my peace with Wes Anderson. He's obviously not for me. I don't think by any stretch he's a bad filmmaker. I think he's an incredible filmmaker. But he's just a very different kind of filmmaker in that it is all about curating the same aesthetic over and over and over again with little sort of details changed. But Paul Thomas Anderson is constantly looking to just almost start anew, refresh his career, reinvent himself. And these what I'm calling sketchbook movies throughout his career, I think have enabled him to do that. Because it's Magnolia, I believe, and it's all the risks he takes in Magnolia that enable him 2 movies later to make There Will Be Blood. And I think it is a movie like The Master, which I was rewatching this weekend. It's a movie like The Master that enables him to make Phantom Thread. And it's, in my opinion, Inherent Vice and all of the sort of risks he takes in Inherent Vice that enables him to make One Battle After Another the way he did it. And of course, I'm linking those two together because they're the 2 Thomas Pynchon adaptations that he's done. And that's not to say that he's playing it safe in one battle after another or that he's not taking risks. The movie is all risks. It's all big swings. It has a crazy structure. The first third of one battle after another is this like seamless, dreamy montage of the past lives of all the main characters. And then the rest of the movie is this like nonstop action thriller that's basically happening in real time. It's happening over the course of like a day or two. The structure is a risk. Everything. There's huge swings in this movie. But based on the experience that he gained adapting Pynchon in Inherent Vice, I believe he is much better prepared to capitalize on all those risks here in One Battle After Another. And so the experience of watching this movie is just watching someone take one big swing after another, but hit the ball out of the park every time. It is thrilling. It is exceptional, exhilarating, thrilling cinema. But it's very interesting when you compare it to Inherent Vice. For Inherent Vice, I think it's his first Pynchon adaptation. He clung much more closely to the source material. It's a pretty, it was near impossible, but it's a pretty straightforward adaptation of Inherent Vice, which is a near impossible book, like all of Pynchon's books, to adapt into a movie, simply because of the amount of characters, the amount of plot points, the amount of sort of tangents that go on. But Inherent Vice clings very close to the source material. It is, it's one of the Joaquin Phoenix movies. So the main character is very wacky, is very out there. Doc Sportello. There's a lot going on. There's a lot that's attempted. And I think that having made that, now going into One Battle After Another, he understood the right way to approach a Pynchon adaptation, which is less is more. Take what you need, but you have to make your own thing. You can't adapt a Pynchon novel, but you can make a movie inspired by a Pynchon novel, and that's what he does here. He's combining elements of the book with, as he said, little stories that he's come up with, things from his life. Obviously, the father-daughter dynamic is very important to him, and that comes out in a big way here. He is making a movie inspired by Vineland, but not a direct adaptation of Vineland. And the result is a much clearer, much more focused, much more honed-in movie than Inherent Vice, but that's what we've seen throughout his career. And I don't think you get the one without the other. I don't think you get There Will Be Blood without Magnolia. I don't think you get Phantom Thread without The Master. And I don't think you get One Battle After Another without Inherent Vice. Let's talk about some of these performances because they're amazing. Leonardo DiCaprio is the lead here, and he is doing a version of what Joaquin Phoenix was doing in Inherent Vice, the sort of hippie stoner who is at the center of a big web of conspiracies and has to kind of figure it all out. It is Paul Thomas Anderson circling and doing his version of the Elliot Gould character from The Long Goodbye, Elliot Gould's version of Philip Marlowe in The Long Goodbye. I mean, PTA is constantly pulling from Altman. We know, Nashville is the one that's most often cited. But to me, you can see him pulling from that Elliot Gould character, both in Inherent Vice and here in One Battle After Another. But here in One Battle After Another, Leo brings a level of humanity to the character that I don't think was there in Inherent Vice. And I'm not saying that's, better or worse. I love when Joaquin Phoenix gets just so kooky and spacey with that character. But here, Leonardo DiCaprio does the magic trick that he always does. And I don't know how he does it because he is one of the weirdest guys to have ever lived. But somehow, when he is on camera, when he is in a movie and he's doing his Leo frustrated freakouts, he is so fucking relatable. And I don't know how he does it. I don't know how this guy who has been famous for his entire life and only lives on yachts with models who are too young for him. I don't know how when he gets on camera, he is so fucking relatable. When he does his, the trailer freak out in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and here his attempts, his sort of, stoned, meandering attempts to find his daughter after she's been kidnapped in this city under siege by American fascist paramilitary forces. I don't know how he's so fucking relatable, but he is. And I think this had to be the Leo movie. This had to be, they waited, They waited for the PTA Leo team up, and they picked the exact right time for it. I'm sorry, but this could not have been Joaquin. It's not that movie. This had to be Leo. It had to have that sort of humanity around the stoner hippie wandering through conspiracies. Benicio, there seems to be this informal contest among Hollywood directors to who can come up with the best Benicio del Toro character. Wes Anderson obviously took a big swing in the Phoenician Scheme this year, and that's a great Benicio del Toro character. But this character in One Battle After Another, Sergio St. Carlos, I'm going to say I think this is the best Benicio del Toro character of all time and one of the best Benicio performances of all time. He is so fucking cool in this movie. He runs a karate dojo in this Northern California sanctuary city. It's like it looks like Humboldt County. It's way up there. And he runs a karate dojo. He also is sort of managing and is in charge of this sort of vast underground railroad system of hiding and housing migrants and illegal immigrants in this town. He has like apartment complexes and all the rooms are interconnected, and he just glides through this world of constant danger and stress and tension and anxiety where every second is life or death. He glides through this world with a cool that the rest of us could not even approach on the best day of our entire fucking lives. The coolest thing you've ever done in your life does not come close to how cool this character is in every second of his life. And the whole time he's got like half a six-pack of Modelo's in one hand. He's always handing a Modelo to Leonardo DiCaprio. This movie's the best advertisement for Modelo that they ever could have hoped for. Modelo is like the Gatorade of the revolution in this movie. All the revolutionaries are always chugging Modelos to gain their strength back and to get courage for what lies ahead. Benicio is so fucking good in this movie. Everyone is good in this movie. Tiana Taylor is amazing. Regina Hall is amazing. Chase Infinity, the newcomer in this movie, is amazing. She plays Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter. Kevin Tighe is amazing as like this bloated old white supremacist who can barely function. But the performance that steals the show, and this is not an endorsement of the man, okay? This is just a verdict on the performances that I saw in this movie. The performance that steals the show is Sean Penn as Colonel Stephen J. Lockjaw. Sean Penn has never been this unhinged, and that's a high bar for Sean Penn. He has never been this unhinged. He has never been this like vile and demented and so committed. He captures this uniquely American type of evil that he is representing so well. It is terrifying and hilarious. It is the moment. It is the moment we are living in, where everything is so scary and terrifying and also so farcical and silly at the same time. He is nailing that, and he nails it in every aspect of his performance. This is a physical performance. He has a disgusting little Hitler haircut, and his arms are like so muscly, it's like disproportionate to his body, and he wears the tightest t-shirts that one of the characters comments on at one point, and he's so self-conscious about everything. He does self-conscious alpha male so well in this movie. It's breathtaking. It is breathtaking, and maybe it's because it's fucking typecasting. I don't know, but people have commented on his walk, and his walk is amazing. It's the most Again, it's the most insecure alpha male walk you will ever see. It's a thing of beauty, his walk in this movie. There's also a moment where he licks his fingers to like pat down his hair because he's about to meet with this like Illuminati secret society that he wants to gain admission to. This is a great movie, by the way. He like licks his hand to pat down his hair so that he looks, nice and professional. And the way he licks it is so disgusting and so vile. And the way he pathetically tries to like rearrange his little Hitler hairdo so that it looks good. This is one of the best physical performances I've ever seen in my life. He is phenomenal. As far as I'm concerned, it's down to him and Delroy Lindo in Sinners for Best Supporting Actor of the Year. Couple more things about this movie. The immediacy of this movie is like, it's like confusing how immediate it is, how perfectly suited to the cultural moment it is. Considering that Paul Thomas Anderson has been working on this project for, I think, like 20 years. because it has the immediacy of one of these South Park episodes that they finish 2 days before it releases. It is so perfectly suited to this moment. And that's where I think one of the real strengths of the movie is they did not cling obsessively to the source material, to Vineland. But he said, I'm going to take a little bit, but I want to make something impactful now. You can feel it in the movie. This movie wants to matter now, and it does matter now, but it won't just matter now. There is this combination of timeliness and timelessness in this movie. Because this is always fucking America. This is always what America is like, is in the tenuous throes of a potential fascist takeover. We've always fucking been here, but we are definitely here right now, and we are here at a level and at a pitch that we haven't seen for quite a while. And the movie understands both of those things. Hence the fucking title, One Battle After Another. And the movie recognizes all of the battles and that the battles won't stop. They will keep going. But it also pays particular attention to this moment and this battle that we are currently in. Specifically, the issue of immigration and immigration from countries to the south of the United States. And then the way the fascist elements in our government are using that as an excuse for their increasingly authoritarian takeover of our government. This movie is also really fucking funny. This movie is really, really funny. There's so many things that made me laugh. There's a moment where Leo, just dazed and stoned, running around this Humboldt County little town trying to figure out where his daughter is, and Benicio is like helping him, and he gets tased and arrested, but then one of Benicio's contacts helps him break out of this hospital, and so he's breaking out of this hospital. He's running into Benicio's car, and there's this moment where everything is panicking and it's moving so fast. And then Leo gets in the car, and they are suddenly like so excited by the moment, excited for the revolution, and excited for the fight, and excited to just be fucking fighting. And for one little moment in this car, Benicio hands him a Modelo. He chugs it. They're both like happy out of nowhere, kind of excited out of nowhere. And then Benicio goes, "Hey, real quick, selfie," and takes a selfie of them in this car. And it is so fucking funny. It is so funny, and like you're cheering at points in this movie. This movie's so funny. The final big action sequence, I won't describe it in too much detail in case you haven't seen the movie yet, because you have to see this with your own human eyes. You have to. It should be a requirement. If you are an American moviegoer, if you're a moviegoer anywhere, but definitely if you're an American moviegoer, you have to not only see this movie, you have to see this final sequence in this movie. It's a big action sequence, but it's not overblown. The beauty of it is in its details and in its precision and in its power out of that precision. This final action sequence, I'll give you it's a car chase, if you know what I'm talking about. So there's a car chase that sort of climaxes the movie. This fucking car chase, which takes advantage of a very specific aspect of California desert highways. If you've driven on California desert highways, you immediately recognize, and sort of the pit of your stomach drops when you see what's going on here. This action sequence is so breathtaking. It's an all-time great movie scene. It's an all-time great movie scene. And every all-time great movie, and I think One Battle After Another is an all-time great movie, every all-time great movie needs an all-time great scene. This movie's got a couple of them, but this is the one. This is the one. The car chase at the end, holy shit, is it phenomenal. And it's because of it's not because of it's sensationalized or there's big explosions. It's because he's such a good fucking filmmaker, is why. It ends with this shot that is like sort of low angle, and there's a body that's like silhouetted by the sun. And it's because of the filmmaking that makes this scene so amazing and so powerful. I liked one thing that took me off guard, but I really liked it, is that this movie, for how dark it is, for how terrifying it is, for how sort of Doctor Strangelovey it gets in its satire and in its like too close for comfort satire of the moment. It ends up having a sweeter ending than I was expecting. It has much more of a Licorice Pizza ending than a There Will Be Blood ending. But I really, really liked it, and I thought it worked really well. And it's not saccharine, it's not overly sentimental. But it does contain the slightest hopefulness to it, the slightest sense of optimism to it. And if not hopefulness or optimism, just to keep going. It's like the message is like keep going is the closing message of this movie. Keep fucking going. One battle after another. That's life, baby. And you keep fucking fighting them. I loved this movie. I'm getting chills talking about it. I'm getting chills remembering it. I really, really like this movie. 5 stars. 5 stars. You did it again, PTA. You blew my fucking mind. Speaking of PTA, for Patreon members only, we're gonna end this episode here, and then I'm gonna stick around and rank all the PTA movies. Worst, that's a relative term, to best. I'm gonna do it off the top of my head. I'm gonna go with my gut. I've already thought about this a lot. All I do is think about ranking the PTA filmography. Not because I want to turn movies into a game, Ethan Hawke, okay? I know Ethan Hawke listens to this show and he's shaking his head in disgust at me right now. Same with Dustin Hoffman, who said, I accept this Oscar, but I don't like the whole idea of pitting performances against each other. All right, I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm doing it because exploring the PTA filmography through a ranking system forces you to clarify what matters to you about movies. Clarifies your values about movies. It's a meaningful exercise, okay, Ethan Hawke? And I'm going to do it in just a second, but that's only on Patreon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm so glad that Movies Baby is back. We've got some Weekend at Bergman's to catch up on for Patreon. We'll do that. Joe's got to get back from paternity leave. Take your time, Joe. And next week, I think Joe will be back next week. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I think Joe will be back next week. Maybe on Zoom. Next week, very exciting. Benny Safdie's The Smashing Machine starring The Rock and Emily Blunt. Very excited to talk about that. A lot of other movies to talk about. We're getting into award season. It's going to be one banger after another from here until the end of the year. Stay with us on Movies Baby. I love you, and we'll see you again soon. And if you're on Patreon, and I hope that you are, I'll see you very soon. Bye.